Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to Charred Axle Winter Wars 2023 Event 2. Last week we saw Impact slam their way to victory against Orchid Fire, and this week we have Neverfall versus Night Fang. Night Fang is equipped with the most powerful weapon in this entire tournament, so let's see how they both get on. We're playing on the same arena as last week, on the planet Einash. We're going to roll to see who moves into the arena first. Neverfall scores 25, and Night Fang, with their speed of 25, scores 29. Night Fang will move into the arena first. Night Fang is the blue bike-style rig. It is equipped with a Astro driver, but they have equipped a heavy variant modification, meaning it deals one additional point of damage each time it deals damage. It is a very formidable weapon, and if any of the rigs in this tournament is able to deal with those harder, more armored rigs, it's this one. So Night Fang moved their 25 all the way to the left, trying to get some cover, be obscured from Neverfall. Neverfall is going to move to the opposite side of the arena, interestingly. And the unique thing about Neverfall is that they come with a familiar, and a familiar is a gunner speciality that a rig can take, and it is a drone or a robot of sorts. There are two different types. There is the mono roller, which is a wheel-based familiar, and then there's this one which we see, which is a Comet Fire drone. So this Comet Fire can only be equipped with certain missiles, certain weapons, and it can never be obscured, but it can fly over obstacles and other rigs. We have a little bit of an upgrade to the dice box this week. As you can see in the bottom, we have the activation tokens pre-shuffled. And now we're going to roll to see which primer pad recharges. It is number 2. That plays into the hands of Neverfall very well. Other than the Comet Fire drone with its Starfall missiles, Neverfall is only equipped with 2 blasters. And if the drone, which has extremely light armor, is destroyed, Neverfall will have to rely heavily on those blasters, and it will need the primer to make them effective. The first turn has gone to Night Fang, and it looks like they're going to try and swing around the bottom of the arena to try and get some early points. Night Fang has the superior speed, but Neverfall has superior handling of 5. And high handling means instead of reducing your momentum by 1 to make a turn, you could take a handling test with less risk and save that momentum for the all-important aimed shot. Oh, and Night Fang is going to take aim at the drone, at the Comet Fire drone. Oh, and with aim shots. So the Comet Fire drones, because they fly, they can never be obscured, but they can roll a maximum of 5 evasion attempts if they have the momentum to do so. So the Comet Fire is going to use 4 evasion attempts, reducing their momentum to 0. They have 1 success, but because of the aim shot, they're going to have to re-roll this, and it's a fail. So that's a hit from Night Fang on the Comet Fire drone, and it's an automatic critical impact because the armor of the Comet Fire drone is only 5, and there we see Night Fang racking up 4 points immediately. Night Fang is going to activate their driver speciality, Circle Work, which will obscure them from any incoming attacks until the start of their next action. Now we have Neverfall's turn. While they move, I'll just go through the 4 points that Night Fang just scored. Oh, Pedal to the Metal is a driver speciality for Neverfall, and they're activating it to gain 5 additional speed for this action. And we see them going straight for that primer, because they may need it if the Comet Fire Drone is taken out early. Night Fang scored 4. They score 1 for attacking. They score 1 for every point of damage they do, and they dealt 3 points of damage, 1 normal, 1 for the critical impact, and then an additional 1 for the heavy variant of their Astro Driver weapon that they have. The heavy variant costs 1 modification slot, so it's quite expensive, but it will really, really help them score those points. Neverfall is making a handling test to try and turn, but this was done incorrectly. When taking a handling test, you roll a number of dice equal to your handling rating, so they should have rolled 5, but they still passed with only 1. To succeed a handling test, you need to roll at least 1/4 on one of the dice that you roll, and once you pass, you can turn for free without having to reduce your momentum. Oh, and the Comet Fire Drone is trying to get out of the way. And now the Comet Fire Drone is turning into position, ready to fire its weapons. And Neverfall is out of range with its blasters. Yes, it's slightly out of range because they only have a range of 20. That is unfortunate. Neverfall's going to miss out on some potential points here. But the Comet Fire Drone has a great range of 30, so that's definitely going to be in. Those Starfall missiles being a medium-powered weapon. But let's see if Night Fang can evade. They will use... How many evasion attempts are they going to make? They're going to use 2. But they are obscured, so they get to re-roll one of these, remember, because of their circle work. And they pass with a 4. So that's going to pass. Oh, and the missile hits, slamming into that sandstone. And we have Primer Pad 2 recharging. That is extremely fortuitous for Neverfall. But Night Fang gets the next turn, excuse me. And if they can get in position to hit that Comet Fire Drone again, we might see the end of it already in the first round. Night Fang there scoring 1 point, 1 favor point because they evaded that incoming attack. Neverfall, of course, scoring 1 because they used one of their weapons. And Night Fang is again going to target the drone, and it's going to use aimed shots. Here we go. And it's a failure. Oh dear. That's a direct hit, scoring 1 point of damage for the regular attack. An automatic critical impact. And then because of the heavy variant, that's going to be 1 more, taking the Comet Fire Drone's damage above its armor threshold and therefore charring it. Oh my goodness. What an upset in the first round. Night Fang scoring another 4 points, but because the Comet Fire Drone is classed as a rig, Night Fang has charred a rig, therefore gaining 2 bonus points. Night Fang has already scored 11 points in the first round. I've never seen that many points scored in 1 round before. Wow, what a start for Night Fang. Neverfall is on the back foot here, straight off the bat. Night Fang is going to complete their movement for this round. Oh, and they're going to use reposition to try and get out of the way of Neverfall. Oh, and it seems Night Fang has moved an additional 5 centimeters by mistake. If it seems that they gain an advantage during the rest of the game because of that, they will be penalized 1 favor point at the end. Okay, now we have Neverfall's turn. They've used their reposition maneuver to get onto that primer, collecting it, and they've moved 20. Okay, so they're going to be within range with their blasters. They have 2 primer, so they're going to activate one of those, activating the primer link speciality for the blasters and using aimed shots to do so. But Neverfall will counter this. Night Fang will counter this with a decoy flare, so it's just a straight roll and it hits. They're unable to evade that. Night Fang is equipped with 3 decoy flares as opposed to Neverfall's only 1. We have a hit, scoring 1 point of damage. And now because of the primer link, both blasters are fired as if they were one weapon, and this allows them to roll all of their impact power for both weapons simultaneously and combining the total. So while these weapons are free and small and not very powerful on their own, together with primer, they're incredibly strong, and that is definitely going to beat the armor of Night Fang, scoring 1 more point of damage. Neverfall there, scoring 3, clawing some back. Neverfall's blasters are also equipped with destruction modules, so each one of them can increase their impact power result by 1. So that total that Neverfall just rolled would have been, in addition to that, would have been an extra 2. The phenomena is a sandstorm. Huge billowing clouds of sand obscure the arena and everybody in it. So all rigs are going to be obscured for the duration of the next round. Okay, at the end of that round, Neverfall is going to take 1 point of damage from the explosives attached to their axles underneath inside their rig, but they will gain the underdog favor bonus. So during the next round, in each of their turns, if they score one or more favor points, they will gain a bonus 1. Okay. This is the primer pad recharging, and they've all recharged. And this is very, very beneficial for Neverfall, because they are now more than ever going to need it. Without their Comet Fire drone and its Starfall missiles, they only have those small blasters. And without primer, they are going to be a huge disadvantage. And Night Fang gets the first turn in round 2. We're going to see a reposition maneuver here. It looks like they're going to try and swing around the back of them to get in between them and the primer. But at the same time trying to distance themselves in case Neverfall goes for that bottom left primer in Arena Section 3. So now we're going to have a turn, reducing their momentum by 1. And neither of these rigs have omnidirectional mounts, which means they must keep their target in the front 180-degree arc of their base. And Night Fang, is going to use aimed shots. This is pretty much a given during a sandstorm because you don't want your target to get any bonuses. Oh my goodness, Neverfall with 2 successful evasion attempts. Incredible. Those high-powered energy beams going off target, cauterizing the sand, turning it into molten glass. Moving swiftly on to Neverfall's turn, using pedal to the metal again. This can be used once per round. Night Fang not using their circle work to obscure their rig because they are already obscured from the sandstorm. Neverfall using 5 centimeters of their movement. Are they going to attempt to shunt right now? I believe they may. There's some cast cam footage, nice close up to these 2 great rigs. Interestingly, the rig you see The Neverfall rig, you see, is actually an old style rig. It's brand new now. You can check that out in the Charred Axle store. There is going to be a shunt attempt. So each rig rolls a dice, adding their handling, and Neverfall scores 9 total, and Night Fang only scores 4. So Neverfall wins the shunt. And if the shunting rig wins, they can move their target 5 centimeters in any direction without turning. And yes, so this is a good way to scrub off some of that momentum, and they are going to collide Night Fang with that obstacle, reducing their momentum by 1. This is going to make it a little bit easier for Neverfall to hit them. So Neverfall continuing now with their movement forwards. Gaining 2 momentum, and they're going to continue again. And they're going to make a handling test. They're going to need to, because the minute they can't target Night Fang because Night Fang is behind them. Oh yeah, and then we have 2 successes, so they can turn for free without reducing their momentum. The benefits of having high handling. Neverfall actually has computer assisted steering, which costs 1 mod slot, but it increases your handling by 1, and you can re-roll a failed attempt. And we're going to see aimed shots now at Night Fang. They only have 1 evasion, and it's failed. So there we are. Those blasters primed again, doing work. That's 1 point of damage. Can they cause a critical impact? Absolutely. Better than a 9 plus 2, so definitely higher than a 9. Critical impact, 1 more point of damage. That takes us into the next turn, and it goes to Neverfall again. Neverfall repositioning. I suspect they will reverse to collect that primer. They definitely need it. Yep, that looks exactly like what they're going to do. Neverfall isn't actually that far behind, even with Night Fang scoring so many points in that first round. Neverfall moving forwards. And because Night Fang cannot evade, they have 0 momentum. Neverfall would use aim shots and... oh dear. Night Fang had 0 momentum, meaning they couldn't get out of the way of that incoming attack, primed with the power of that primer. And that's higher than a 9 again. Another critical impact. That's another 4 points for the underdog, Neverfall. And that completes their movement for their second action in this round. And it's Night Fang now. Another great close-up from our broadcast drones on the arena floor, getting into the action. A little bit less scary than the terror worm that we had last week during Impact and Orchid Fire's bout. Okay, Night Fang is going to move 10, gaining 2, and then reducing by 1 to turn. Night Fang is in the advantageous position here. They have the superior weapon. Being able to deal so many points of damage can quickly cause Neverfall to come close to their armor threshold, and they can score quite reliable point every turn without the need of primer. Here we are, Night Fang using aim shots again at Neverfall because of this sandstorm. It's pretty much a necessity. Neverfall will use both of their momentum to try to evade this. And we have another successful evasion attempt. Neverfall being extremely skillful in getting out of the way of those high-powered energy beams. This is the phenomena, and it's lashers. Carnivorous plants that live underneath the surface of iron ash, and they will lash out at Neverfall with their carbon barbs, and they can't make evasion attempts, so they take 1 point of damage. And there's Night Fang's evasion attempt, and it fails, so the lashers grab hold of Night Fang too. 1 point of damage to Night Fang and to Neverfall. And here we are mixing up the activation tokens, just showing you how we do it. Oh, and Night Fang has taken the point of damage for the end of the round from the need to please event mechanic. They scored the fewest favor points, so they take the point of damage, but they do gain the underdog's favor. So we have Neverfall to go first. The rigs are assigned the activation number based on alphabetical order. So Neverfall has been assigned 1 and Night Fang is assigned 2. Another 5 extra speed for Neverfall during this turn with their driver speciality, pedal to the metal. Neverfall attempting a handling test again here to make that turn. This is quite risky being so close to the arena wall, but they do pass with a single 4. So they're going to be able to turn for free without losing any of that valuable momentum and get themselves right up in Night Fang's face with their blaster, which is not primed this time. So they only get 1 shot. Night Fang can't evade it, but because these weapons are so light, they cannot deal automatic damage. They must roll impact power, and they only get 3 dice. And that was a failure. That was only a 7. So Night Fang escaping some extra damage there. They are very close to their threshold. 8 damage, only 9 armor. And here we are, Night Fang using their positioning to deny Neverfall that primer, which is the best thing they can do right now. They need to hold on without getting charred to the end of the event and make sure they score more points than Neverfall can. Okay, aim shots again, and there's no obscuring sandstorm, so Neverfall will use their single decoy flare, and they pass twice again. Neverfall is doing fantastic evading these incoming attacks. Night Fang is going to score 2, 1 for attacking and 1 for the underdog's favour. And now it seems Night Fang has put themselves right between Neverfall and that primer. So Neverfall is definitely not going to be able to collect that primer this turn. They're going to reposition. And I suspect they're going to try and get enough momentum to make aimed shots. Oh, they're going to try and reposition, but they cannot reverse far enough to get that 15 cent. They're going for a collision. They're going to ram them, but they cannot. They cannot get the right distance, so they're just going to go 14 centimeters instead of 15. So they will only gain 2 momentum and lose 1 because of the collision. Night Fang will also lose 1, but that means they can only roll 1 momentum. Let's have a look at a close-up of that collision. Both rigs there fighting for a place in the semi-final. Night Fang is going to deploy their second of 3 decoy flares, rendering them obscured, allowing them to re-roll 1 of these evasion attempts. Oh, and they passed another successful evasion attempt. Both of these rigs are doing quite well to evade incoming attacks. Night Fang holding on here. That was another successful handling test from Neverfall, allowing them to turn for free. And I suspect they will just try to use their last 5 centimeters. Yes, to move forwards, gaining 2 momentum, giving them a little bit of protection from the last incoming attack from Night Fang. There is only 1 turn left in this event, and it's going to Night Fang. The scores are close. What can Night Fang do here? Night Fang on 16. Neverfall on 17. It's incredibly close. So Night Fang zooming off into the distance, skidding around. I suspect they're going to give it everything that they have. They're within range. They're going to use 2 momentum to make aim shots. Neverfall has no decoy flares, so this is going to be, there's 1 pass, it needs to be re-rolled, and it's another pass. Neverfall evading another incoming attack. They haven't been hit a single time from that heavy Astro Driver. They are incredibly, well, either lucky or skillful. I don't know which one it is. So that is the end of the event. Night Fang scores 2 points, 1 for attacking, 1 for being the underdog. Let's take a look at the scores here. So we have Night Fang scoring 11, 12, 13, 18, and also Neverfall scoring 18. We have a draw. During a draw, the winner will be defined by who scored the most favor points in most rounds. And in this case, Night Fang has done it by 1 point. Night Fang is going through to the semi-finals. Neverfall has lost by 1 point. That was incredibly close. I cannot believe it. Let's take a look at the total favor points. And Night Fang not being penalized in the end for their illegal maneuver in round 1. They failed all of their evasion attempts when Neverfall attacked, and thus they have not been deemed to gain any sort of advantage for that mistake. Neverfall may have lost, but they still have a chance to be in the semi-finals because they have scored more points than Orchid Fire could score in their event, meaning Orchid Fire has been eliminated, unfortunately. Unfortunate for Orchid Fire, but that's how it goes. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time in the arena. If you'd like to play Charred Axle, head over to charredaxle.com and download the rules for free, or you could buy yourself a paperback version from the Charred Axle store. The Charred Axle store also contains all of the miniatures and tokens you will need to play your first game of Charred Axle.